friends. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fort Worth Roots. You can find this show on all your favorite podcast players. We're also on YouTube and social media. Just search for Fort Worth Roots. Special shout out to our new, most recent Patreon patron, Angela Walker. She signed up for the Superstar tier, and she is now supporting the show. Thank you, Angela, for being a part of Fort Worth Roots. Also, a shout out to our buddy Justin Matenta. He's been a Patreon patron for a really long time. He started contributing to the show back in August of 2020. Shout out to our buddy Dustin over at Squad STX Boys Camping. He is not a sponsor, but we did this thing where we wanted to highlight veteran businesses here in the local area, and he was the first one to reach out to us. Squad STX is an overnight primitive camping, hiking, orienteering, and laser tag course for boys designed by U.S. Army infantry officers as an alternative to Boy Scouts and traditional summer camp. We develop strong leadership skills through squad competitions, time-tested military training methodologies, and situational training exercises, or STX. It's all boys. It's ages 11 through 16. It's 100% outdoors. Overnight camping, hiking, wilderness skills, land navigation, laser tag. They got two different packages. They got boys summer camp. It's 5 days, 4 nights. And a father and son camp. That's 3 days and 2 nights. And you can find all this information at squadstx.com. And you guys know I'm not going to stop telling you about this. Go ahead and mark it on your calendars. Saturday, April the 30th. It's going to be the first time Fort Worth Roots has gone to a live event where we're going to be talking to people and hanging out, enjoying the pop-up markets, the vendors, the games, the events, and the classic cars that are going to be at the Springfest Car Show. The River Oaks Springfest Car Show. Again, that's Saturday, April 30th, held at the beautiful Camp Carter at 6200 Sand Springs Road, Fort Worth, Texas, 76114. Put it on your calendar. It's a free event. It's going to be a lot of good stuff there. It's going to be beautiful weather, I know it. And Fort Worth Roots is going to be there. We'd love to see you. Come by, take a picture with us in the banner, and see what we got going on. But just mark it on the calendar. It's going to be fun. Our guest today has her debut album out that you can find on all streaming services for free on all platforms. It's called, the name of the album is Unstable. You can also pre-save her new album set to release April 29th by going to www.monnacomedy, MONNACOMEDY.com. And you can pre-save so that whenever that does release, you'll get notified for that. Find her schedule for Claws Out Comedy at clawsoutcomedy.com. The two nearest dates that she's got coming up, March 8th, that's this Tuesday at Tulips, and March 10th, Thursday, at Arlington Improv. You can find all this information at monnacomedy.com. Check the show notes for this episode for all the links that we talk about in this episode and everything I just talked about here in the intro. Give it up for this incredibly talented local DFW comedian. She simply goes by Monna. Thank y'all for being here. Let's start the show. Okay, there we go. Can you hear okay?
I can. Can
Awesome.
You hear me?
Yeah. So I took off work so that we could do this. And no.
You.
No, I've been like in preparation mode all day. So now you're here and I can calm the hell down.
People don't usually say that to me, so that's nice.
Well, this is really important to me. And whenever somebody makes a hour-long drive across Texas to come see me, I don't want to mess anything up. So
It's not that deep.
But I've been researching you, and your comedy is hilarious.
Well, thank you so much.
You get that all the time, I'm sure.
You know, I'm on the internet, so it's a mixed bag.
Well, you're not just on the internet. You're at a new level of fame that most people would pay a ton of money to be at.
I like to think I'm in my pre-celebrity phase.
Right,
That's the mentality that I've adopted lately. Every time I go to the grocery store, I'm like, oh, this is so quaint. Like, I love doing this for myself while I still get to.
Normal people stuff.
Yeah, I don't know where manifesting starts and delusion ends, but that's where I'm at right now. It's my pre-celebrity mindset.
I noticed there's, I guess, some kind of internet beef going on right now. So that's the next level.
Beef?
Yeah, you were talking on TikTok about somebody leaving you nasty comments or something.
Oh yeah, they do that all the time.
So you've at least reached the point of fame where you have to stop reading the comments.
Well, when you're a woman on the internet, people don't like if you talk. So it really has nothing to do with my level of talent. It just has to do with I'm a woman talking online, and that's upsetting to some people.
Maybe 50-50.
You know, who could say?
So tell me about Fort Wayne, Indiana, and where it all started.
I am from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I actually started doing comedy in Indianapolis.
Okay.
I had to drive like 2.5 hours for my first 6 minutes of stage time. So I randomly just took a trip with my best friend. We didn't have a plan, but he was like, "Do you want to leave and go to Indy?" And I was like, "Yeah." Because Fort Wayne, you know, as much as I love my hometown, the best thing I can say about it is that it is a beautiful place to leave. And so we drove down to Indy. We didn't really have a plan. And my dad texted me and was like, "Well, there's a comedy club there. If you want to do comedy so much, you should probably go to a comedy club." So we went there. They didn't card me. I got a little tipsy. Went up to the headliner. I was like, "I want to do what you do." "How?" And he closed his phone because phones still flipped back then. And
I had one.
He made me tell him some jokes, and then he introduced me to the club owner. They put me up on a little showcase the next week, and that was my first 6 minutes of stage time. And
did you have anything prepared?
Yeah, so I started out as just a one-liner comic. So everyone, I would like to formally apologize to anyone who followed me on Twitter when I was in my late high school years, because it was just obsessively jokes that I didn't know where to put. And you could also text Twitter from your phone. So I was just at 2 a.m. constantly texting. And it would also come to your phone as a text if you followed me on Twitter. Huh. So it was just like a constant update. Yeah. So I formally apologize to anybody who followed me on Twitter during that time period. But yeah, I had all these jokes and all these one-liners I didn't know what to do with. So I did my first 6 minutes of stage time with some of those jokes, and it was great. I had a good time. And then I actually got pulled over right after my set, and the cop let me go for telling him a joke.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Because I was so nervous all day. I hadn't eaten anything. I didn't really tell anybody I was going down and doing it. And so like as soon as the show was over, I went and I got some fries, and I got pulled over. And I was like, "I'm sorry, I just had my first comedy set ever." And he's like, "Did it go well?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Tell me a joke." And then he let me go.
I just don't see that working out the same way for me. I don't.
Well, not with that attitude.
You got to have some humor skills, though, I guess, probably.
But yeah, well, I was just so amped up that I think nothing could bring me down. I love collecting more bits. I hope, knock on wood, I hope the album is done now. I think that I finished it right before I came here. I had to do a little bit of re-editing on some tracks. So I think that it's done now. I think Unprecedented is ready. Yeah,
Unprecedented is the full-length album that you've got. You're going to release it in April, is that correct?
4/29. 29 tracks, my last day of being 29 years old. Yep.
April 30th. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mine's April 19th, so...
Hey, look at us.
Are you Aries?
I was supposed to be an Aries. I'm a Taurus.
Okay. I'm
a cusp person. I don't know what that means. I think it means I'm a little insufferable and I like attention.
None of that means anything, right?
I don't think so.
I grew up thinking I was an ox because the menu at our favorite Chinese restaurant, I was the ox for my year.
Sure.
So whenever people started saying things like, "Oh, you're an Aries," I went, "No, I'm an ox." And nobody knew what the hell I was talking about because they didn't go to that same Chinese restaurant in Midland, Texas. So
rude of them.
Idiots.
Rude of them to not have your same exact context. I think that the most Taurus thing about me is I love just running directly at red flags. I think that's my strong suit. I'm a bull, right?
The red flags being...
I used to really love musicians. You know, I'm happily engaged now to somebody who does not have a band, which is fantastic.
Is this like a first-time deal?
First engagement, yeah. I hope it's the last one.
Well, I meant first time dating somebody that's not a musician.
Yeah, I think so.
You had a type until now.
Oh no, I think so. Actually, now that I'm reflecting, I didn't come here to have trauma brought up.
Well, half of your material is trauma, right? So that's
it's very trauma based. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this next album going to be kind of like that?
Comedy's certainly a coping mechanism. Yeah. You know, I released Unstable January 1st, 2021, and then I recorded Unprecedented, I think December 22nd. 2021. So it's, you know, a lot of content within each other. So much happened to me and for me. I shouldn't say to me. It happened for me in January that a lot of this album is reacting to that. So I didn't get too much into my dad's passing, but there's a trickle of it on there because I'm saving all of that for a different album.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love the direction you took with some of those some of the jokes that I found online dealt a lot with your dad's passing and that is, I think, taking that trauma and turning it into something that everybody can, kind of take that feeling of, oh my God, her dad passed away, and then turning it into something that they can maybe relate to or kind of find some silver lining to with your humor, the way you inject it. I don't know.
So my dad passed on a Monday, and then I had to headline this show on a Friday in Houston. I mean, I would have canceled if my stepmother was going to have a funeral, but we can't get into all that right now. So I ended up going and doing the show in Houston. My friend had COVID, so she couldn't come down with me. So it was just this 4-hour car trip by myself, which was like a lot of alone time in a car anyway. But then like right after that happening, I was like, this is a lot for me to be with me right now.
Yeah.
But I did this show, and I talked about it on stage because I did these jokes that were my immediate reactions to it, and I still do them. I still think they're funny, but it was too fresh for Houston. And so at one point in the show, I said, I'm sorry, does my dad dying bum you out? Imagine loving him. Ugh. Which I think is hilarious, but they weren't ready. So
well,
there's a little nugget every once in a while on the new album about it, but I am saving a lot of that content for a future project that I'm excited about.
Okay.
As dark as that is, I'm excited to be able to transform it and talk about it. I'm still in the midst of things in the moment, so
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So Kate Greathouse, I believe, is the one that got us connected.
She did, and she is fantastic.
Yeah. Where do y'all just kind of know each other through comedy in the area?
Yep.
Or? Okay.
Yep. Kate's done a couple closeout comedy shows, which is very cool. And then Kate's got her own stuff going on now with the Great House Playhouse out in Dallas, which is neat. So, yeah, I just know Kate through comedy.
Love that energy. I mean, in order to get anything done, whether it's in business or with art, you really have to be fully committed to it.
Yeah, for sure.
So for her to go out, and she's really doing her own thing. She's not just doing sets at different comedy clubs. She's creating something. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome. Is that regular? I mean, I know 2 comedians now, and you're both doing something for yourself. You're creating your own production.
I don't think it's abnormal. I will say for DFW and for women in DFW, something that I always thought was really interesting is that every woman who was running an open mic in DFW, I mean, this is going off of pre-times. I'm not sure what everybody else is up to right now, but every woman who ran an open mic ran 3 open mics. So like there are a lot of very talented female producers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which I always thought was really, really cool when I moved here, is that women were doing things and they were good things, like really, really impressive strides being made. And then obviously I started Claws Out Media and Entertainment, and we do productions as Claws Out Comedy, and I am the creator producer of all of that. And
you're everywhere. You're not just in DFW. You're going all over the state, aren't you?
Yeah. So the first year that we were kind of doing things, I got us into Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and then for a while last year I was doing stuff in Austin weekly, and then doing a monthly on top of it too. So it was a lot.
What club were you going to?
We performed at a small venue in downtown Austin, which is no longer in business. We parted ways before they went out of business, but that was part of why.
That was kind of why I was asking, because there was a lot of comedy clubs in the Austin area that went under.
Yeah, so it wasn't at a club. It was at a locally owned business, and then we still have a relationship with Austin Eastsiders, which is fantastic. They have been absolutely phenomenal with every show that we've done with them.
I just moved back. I was down there for 9 months for work, and COVID and all that, and I was working 90 hours a week, not kidding.
Wow.
And so I didn't get out much, but the podcast that I listened to would talk about the comedy scene in Austin and how everybody's expecting it to really grow, new venues opening up, and then of course Joe Rogan moved to the area and brought all his comedy friends with him, and so they're kind of expecting a big influx of comedians and just comedy venues in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's most of Texas. There's a lot of money in Texas. There's a lot of opportunity in Texas. I think that a lot of performers who moved to LA or New York right before the pandemic ended up either moving back or moving here. So
yeah,
it's interesting to see where people kind of fluctuate and where they go to and gravitate toward.
Yeah, and I wonder if people are going to get to Austin, and it's because right now, just the little time I was there, it's growing so fast, and the roads can't really accommodate it. So I'm wondering how many of the newcomers to Austin are going to go, you know what? Screw this. Let's go to Fort Worth.
Fort Worth is fantastic. I love Fort Worth. I went Fort Wayne to Fort Worth.
Yeah.
And I'd do it all over again.
That's how I told myself to remember where you were from.
Just holding down the fort.
Dates, yeah. So, yeah, Fort Worth, we talk about it obviously a lot, and
I would think so.
Yeah, it's impressive to see the changes just in the 12 years that I've been around the area, but it's growing really fast. There's a lot of new businesses, and like you said, it's just Texas in general, but it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah. We did get a new lacrosse team.
Oh,
in Fort Worth.
Did we? Good. That's lovely.
And I don't think it's going so well. They haven't won a home game yet. And I'm really worried about these guys.
I hope that they pull through. Sports ball.
Because we need professional sports here.
I have been thinking to myself for years, where is our lacrosse team in Panther City? I wish them the best.
Dickies Arena is beautiful, though. Have you been to an event there yet?
Yeah, we went to see the Black Keys when they first opened.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing the names that we're getting in there.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time, everybody in Fort Worth would go to Grand Prairie because that was the nice little middle ground. They have great venues there that, big names could play at, and we didn't really have a whole lot of that. But now that Dickies is here, we're getting all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't do a whole lot of exploring if I'm not booked there.
Right.
I mostly go places that have a microphone that I'm paid to talk
You're
into.
busy. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to be busy.
Crazy busy.
Yeah,
I was
I try
looking
to
at
be.
your schedule. I didn't find your schedule, but we'll talk about that, and then I'll make sure that whatever you want to put in the show notes, we can put it in there.
Sure.
Upcoming events and things like that. But what I did find was your, I guess, end of 2021 schedule, and I mean, it was like every other day you had something scheduled.
Yeah.
So you're just...
I like to be everywhere at once.
So all of that, plus you're trying to write at the house, putting your album together. So,
yeah, and I just got my LLC, so it's a lot going on.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is it Claws Out?
Claws Out Media and Entertainment.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah, we'll make sure and put that in there too. But so let's talk a little bit about that though, because it is a mental health kind of focused movement that you started, and it's highlighting female comedians, but all comedians are welcome inside this LLC of yours or your shows.
Yeah, no, we're not just an all-female group.
Right.
I think there's a misconception that we are, like the misconception.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we exist to normalize mental health. We're mental health advocates and believe that the real alpha pussy energy is spreading the message that bad bitches can be sad bitches. So Claws Out started in Fort Worth, and I like to say we're the cattiest comedy show from Panther City.
Yeah, I almost wrote that down, and then I was like, I probably shouldn't be the one to read that off, so I'm glad you did.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to recite my scripting that I've done with my branding whenever I can.
Polished and really spent some time thinking about, so it's important to you.
Yeah, it kind of naturally happened, which is I think how the best things kind of develop. I was asked to produce a show. It did start out as an all-female show, but then, after the pandemic, after the initial shutdown, which we're in Texas, so it wasn't very long, but I did get the opportunity to really reevaluate what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go and what direction I wanted to go into, and that was very much mental health. I was told to not talk about mental health on stage by a couple different people, a couple different times over my career, and releasing and calling my first album Unstable and putting it under Claws Out Comedy Records as my own label was really important to me. Mm-hmm. And we're really just mental health advocates, and normalizing mental health is obviously a passion of mine.
So did you, I think you just told me this, but was it 2018 when you launched all this?
No, so the first show that I ever threw together was like the very end of 2019, unless the government's listening, then it was definitely 2021. 2022, I don't know, whatever. The IRS isn't probably going to listen. Do you have a lot of IRS listeners to the Fort Worth Roots podcast?
I think we're all afraid of those people.
Yeah, the very first show was the end of 2019, so really everything got started right before everything shut down. Yeah, we were in San Antonio the week before everything was full, complete shutdown. And I was supposed to record my first album the weekend that everything was mandated to be shut down. So that ended up getting done in October instead.
I'm sure you're thinking, of course, perfect. This would happen. Yeah.
I tried to not make the entire pandemic completely about me, but it's hard not to when it clearly is.
Yeah, it's stopped everything in its tracks.
It really did, but it was an opportunity to focus and reevaluate everything about my life, which was necessary for me.
And do you feel like you've had a chance to take your foot off the gas once since you started this?
No. Yeah. I mean, that's a difficult question. Have I had the opportunity to? Sure. I we can do whatever we want in this world. I just choose not to. I love what I do. They always say, if you find something you love, you'll never work a day in your life, which is bullshit. You're going to work 100% of your life because you love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. I had my first business was a nightmare because I went into something that I had no interest in. It was it was a low overhead cost. So I said, let's do it. And, what you run into is, like you said, entrepreneurship is extremely exhausting. You never get to take a break. You will work your ass off. And if you don't love it, if you don't like what you're doing, it's not going to last.
Yeah, I think my issue is that I do love it.
No, that's great. That's great. So to your point, my lesson was, hey, dumbass, find something you like to do.
Sure. I mean, that's a good note for anybody, is to find somebody that you like, find something that you like to do.
Yeah. Well, that's... I trim out these awkward spots whenever I do dumb shit like that.
So this is edited in post?
I do. I edit the shit out of it because I'm not a professional yet. I'm still waiting on my 10,000 hours.
Feel that.
But yeah, one day I'd like to probably do it live. But as you can tell, I'm still kind of working on my thing. But while we're waiting on me to get good at my shit, here we are. And I'll just, keep editing. And I don't think anybody really minds that. I think there's a certain quality to live entertainment, but I'm just not there yet.
That's okay. There is nothing wrong with that. That's part of why I love stand-up, is because it is an immediate feedback. But yeah, I mean, my fiance and I just recorded our first podcast episode of the Claws Out Media and Entertainment presents the Scary Good Movie podcast. So perhaps we'll get better at podcasting as we go too.
I did have questions about podcasting because you started one back in 2020.
We did. What was I to do? Everybody else was doing stuff. We did the Claws Out Comedy podcast and the Claws Out Comedy Carcast. So we pivoted for a while because I don't believe in stopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I found out that your first job apparently was, now this was either you or the other person talking. I was kind of a little confused, but it sounds like you were a DJ.
Carrie and I sound similar.
A DJ for a Christian radio.
That was my first job. I was an online DJ for a Christian radio station.
Tell me about that, please.
That was it. That was pretty much. And next up, Switchfoot. That was...
Right. Well, how did you, or what was your function? Were you literally DJing, or was it just putting songs on the computer?
Yeah, we did songs on the computer, and then there was a chat room, obviously, for all of the troubled kids that needed their soul saved, so that required a lot of moderation, so I did.
And you were there for them?
Yeah.
Well, I knew it was either that or you were baptizing cats, so.
No, that was Carrie. That was my Claws Out Comedy co-host, Carrie Smith.
Awesome. Is she still working with you?
We have not been doing the podcast because stuff restarted, so the podcast was really a pivot while we could not do live entertainment.
Right, but with Claws Out, is she still working with you?
Yeah, I haven't seen Carrie for a while. Today's actually her birthday.
Oh, so. Happy birthday, Carrie.
Yeah. But yeah, I haven't seen her for a minute, but we're both still performing and doing stuff.
Yeah. So you, from what I found online while I'm just scavenging, it looks like you play at every single venue I've ever been aware of in the DFW area.
Good. And if you find another one, let me know. I'll go play at it.
Well, I hope we get some more with, like we were talking about, with all the growth in the area. But you've been to my favorites, Hyenas and the Improv.
Yeah.
Looks like a lot, though. Like you didn't just visit once. These are kind of like main stopping grounds for you.
Yeah, I love both of those clubs and those club chains. I recorded my album Unstable at the Fort Worth Hyenas, and then Claws Out has kind of started finding a bit of a home at the Arlington Improv, which is neat. Claws Out has been in every club, I think, in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
That is so awesome. So, and that's you. You did all that yourself.
I did, yeah.
That's incredible.
It's a lot.
I mean, if you just wrapped it up now and said, okay, I did something awesome, that would still be something, a notch on your belt, or... Well,
the difficult thing is that while I am the brand of Claws Out, it's bigger than me. Like, while it's my thing, I don't think it's all about me. So I still try to do stuff independently from my brand and be a bit separate. So every time I try to perform somewhere, it's not necessarily with Claws Out. Like, I'm not just at Claws Out shows. And a lot of Claws Out shows run without me, which is great.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Ruth Banks has been absolutely instrumental in us being able to expand and actually do more things and do more things better, is really, really Ruth Banks.
And what's Ruth Banks' function?
Ruth Banks, she hosts the Funky Picnic open mic that we do, the Tipsy Tuesday open mic in Fort Worth on Tuesdays at Funky Picnic Brewery and Cafe. And then when we were doing stuff in Austin, I was able to have Ruth kind of manage some stuff. So the other really cool thing is we're at the Dive in Denton, which is really, really neat. I love that venue, and I'm so happy to be there and have a residency. But when I got to go open for Carlos Mencia and be his feature for a weekend out in Arkansas, Ruth was able to keep the show running that we had going on. So Ruth can do things when I am not there, which is absolutely incredible, and I can't thank her enough for keeping things going while I'm somewhere else, because I was always told that I could not be a producer and a performer and that I had to pick one, which of course was upsetting. So I decided to prove that you can in fact do both. So I was in front of sold out crowds in Arkansas at this amazing club called The Grove, which was really, really cool that they gave me a shot to feature for Carlos Mencia. I keep saying open, but I got to feature for him, which was really neat. It was a really cool opportunity. And then I got 7 people paid while I was 2 states away. So that was like a really good feeling. That was probably the highlight of my 2021 for like professional feelings.
Where was this at in Arkansas?
It was at the Grove Comedy Club
the city.
in Lowell.
Lowell.
Yep.
What's the next biggest city over?
Don't know. I drove immediately there, did 2 shows, and then passed out, and then right after the second show on the second night, I just drove home.
But sold out. That's the only detail that matters.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It was sold out shows. But yeah, no, it was fantastic, and Carlos Mencia was absolutely amazing to get to work with, and he was
How did you
kind.
Get connected with him?
I just got paired with him. The club owner gave me an opportunity and said that his feature couldn't come with him, and would I want to do it? So
and you're like, oh, let me think. Yeah.
I was like, I will drive there tomorrow morning. So I drove 7 hours, did 2 shows, passed out, and then did 2 shows the next day. I went to their little they had like a German fest going on, so I went and hung out and saw what the people of Lowell were doing for fun.
German fest in Arkansas.
Yeah, it was fun. I got a little pretzel necklace. It was a good time. I got to meet the big green M&M while she still had her sexy shoes, and then I did 2 shows and then drove straight home with about 7.5 hours.
Damn. I've got family up there somewhere, mountain home.
Did you lose them?
No. Well, kind of. Yeah. There was divorces in the family.
I see. You just said somewhere.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I don't know that I could ever live in any place other than Fort Worth as of right now.
Sure.
But Arkansas is it's beautiful. As long as you can kind of just block out all the trailers that are like buried down in the trees as you're driving down the highway. There's a lot of that.
It feels a little murdery in a lot of parts.
Yeah, you can hear banjos. Yeah. So what's going on at Maine at Southside? Are you still gigging out there?
No, we don't do the Laugh Your Mass Off open mic there anymore. That was another kind of pandemic.
Right, casualty.
Yeah. It's just... we did, well, you know what? That's not true. So after the open mic, we ended up doing some Bad Bitch Bingo over at Maine at Southside. We still have a good relationship with Maine at Southside, but I created this interactive bingo comedy game. So I made all of these cards and laminated them and designed these board spaces. So there is like an actual Bad Bitch Bingo set of rules and things that we were doing for a while. And we did that. It's like regular bingo. Except it's petty, you get to yell at performers. So like you have your regular number spaces, and then you also have, trauma, or what else was on there? Genitals, traffic, politics, stuff that comics talk about.
Important
stuff. So if somebody said that in their set on stage, the crowd got to yell mommy issues at them. And so those were just spaces on the board. So we did that in Austin for a while too. That was really fun. Yeah. So I have this Bad Bitch Bingo game that I created that I am looking to bring back eventually when I have more sponsorships and am a bit more plugged into the local scene so that I can get people to actually give away the prizes and promote their businesses the way that I initially had imagined doing it. So Bad Bitch Bingo, super fun.
Well, Morgan, our stand-in co-host, sometimes my fiance, she loves bingo. She tries to drag me to bingo about once a week. So I think she'd love Bad Bitch Bingo.
Bad Bitch Bingo is a lot of fun. We've never had negative feedback from Bad Bitch Bingo. It's a good time.
Nice.
Yeah, you get to yell at comics and win prizes. Like, what more could you want?
Done and done.
Yeah.
As long as there's drinks. I think that's part of it.
We're not doing anything right now because, again, I'm trying to get some sponsorships and stuff, and I want to do it the right way when we bring it back. So we did Bad Bitch Bingo in Austin. We did it in Fort Worth. We did it in Denton. Like, really fun. We just need to tweak a few things and actually get some sponsorships to do it the way that I envision.
You mentioned a place in Denton that you said you have a residency.
Yes.
So how often do you play up there?
We are at the Dive the fourth Saturday of every month for a big Claws Out Comedy Live at the Dive show, which I'm very excited about. It's super, super neat. It's a really cool spot. And then we're doing Bad Bitch Bingo there every week, but we're tabling that and just focusing on the big live events.
Yeah. Well, you've got so much going on. It's okay if you have to table a thing or two.
Yeah, that's okay. I was talking to my friend yesterday, and I was like, I feel like I'm not doing anything. She's like, you're doing more than anyone I've ever met.
Yeah.
You are right. I've been teaching myself how to sew. My fiance 3D prints stuff now, so we've been creating all of our...
Cool.
Oh, it's so cool.
I want one so bad, but I also have a lot going on, so I'll wait.
He's fixated on it, and he has this mechanical engineer brain, so he figured it out right away, and he's been doing some really, really cool stuff. So he's been printing some Claws Out merch for us too. We've got some keychains that say Bad Bitch on one side and Sad Bitch on the other. So
are they coming out real crisp? Like you're like, oh wow.
Yeah, I wish I'd brought one with me so that I could show you next time.
Yeah,
they're awesome. He's really good at it.
We went to some trade show, and there was somebody peddling these 3D printers, and I didn't know what it was at first because we walked by and there's like a big group of people, and I just kept walking because I avoid crowds. Because like you, if I get noticed, I'm in trouble. Now I got to sign things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Answer questions.
Pre-celebrity.
Right. So, but we're walking away, and Morgan goes, "What the fuck is burning?" And I'm like, "That's burning wood. What is that?" So we turned around and we went back, and they had a 3D printer, and they had another thing that's kind of like well, it's not a 3D printer, but it works about the same, but it's got a laser on it, and it just like moves back and forth and makes really cool designs on wood and stuff. Anyway, so then cue my fascination with 3D printers, and I can't stop looking them up online, and you can get them.
That's how it started for him. It started with the obsession with the videos.
Yeah, that's where most obsessions start, I think, on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, he got the 3D printer, I got the Cricut. We're ready to girl boss as close to the sun as we can before it explodes.
Now, what is the Cricut? Because I think Morgan has one, and she hasn't even pulled it out of the box
Yeah, so
yet.
the Cricut is like a cutting machine. I got the maker so that I can use it for cutting out my sewing stuff now. So I can cut out my sewing patterns, which is neat.
So you said you just decided you were going to start sewing.
Yeah.
When did this start, and how long does it take if I want to get proficient at sewing things?
I put one zipper in, and now I think I'm a seamstress. So I don't know. I'm not super good at it yet. I made one bag and was like, mastered it. I can move on now.
That's exactly how I would probably.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to make some little things. I want to be in charge of making my own merchandise, and I think it's a useful skill for when the apocalypse comes. I should be able to sew something.
I mean, theoretically, you should be able to stitch skin back together, right?
In theory, maybe.
I would think.
Yeah. I hope I never have to.
Give it a shot. You might have another talent that you didn't know about.
That is something to look forward to. Thank you. Ian got me, my fiance, he got me this sewing machine for Christmas because I mentioned that I wanted to do it. And so he got me this big sewing machine, and it's like nice. So I have to learn how to use it. Otherwise, I'm ungrateful. Like, I have to use the present that was given to me. So I was making a joke too, because it's like, I lost my dad in 2021, but I got a brother. Sewing joke. I'm going to have people in stitches on that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Stitches, brother. Got it. That's good.
Crushing it.
Yeah, see, I'm too slow for that joke. That was for smart people.
I think it was for sewing people. That was not a very well-tailored joke. I apologize.
It doesn't stop.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I know.
I'll keep going. How much further can you go with this?
I think that's all I got. I'm hanging by a thread.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
You said an hour away. So are you over on the Dallas side?
I don't super want to disclose where I live,
no,
but I do
don't give us the address.
I do live closer to Austin now than when I initially lived in downtown Fort Worth. Yeah, I lived in downtown Fort Worth for many years, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved from Fort Wayne, Indiana to Fort Worth, Texas, and we literally lived in the first place we looked at because they let us do our deposit over a 3-month period, and we were super broke when we moved here. So it was the first place we looked at, and then I ended up living there for, I think, 6 years until we moved. We bought a house, so that's why we moved.
Yeah. Well, and we've been looking at property values around here, and it's insane. Like, this little house that we have right now, it's like, we're never going to get a situation better than this.
Same. Well, it's amazing, too. Payments. Like, if we would have stayed in the duplex that we were living in, it would have been more expensive than what our mortgage is now a month, which is bananas. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially because we didn't live in a good neighborhood. We lived in the hood. Like, had to call the cops. Our windows were getting shot out kind of hood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We lived very close to Stop 6 for anything that, for anyone that might mean
I don't even
anything
know
to.
why I know where that is, but I do. It's like on the way to
Because you know to not go
Arlington,
there.
right?
You know to not go there.
It's kind of in between here and Arlington.
It's like, I lived, I think, less than 10 minutes from the downtown Hyenas Club. So it was close to downtown, which was nice. No, we have chickens now, though. Ian built this entire, like, chicken coop outside with his bare hands. This was
is a handy
crazy.
man.
He is very capable. Yeah.
He's just,
opposites attract.
Whatever. So y'all are just creating stuff left and right. He's trying to find what skills he doesn't have, and
I don't think that. I honestly, he came home and he told me that he wanted to write a movie, and I was like, stop it. Because creative things are my thing. Creative space is supposed to be me. Oh, he's super funny too. It's really funny. All the stand-up comics, kids, he likes to come and hang out at the STFU open mic at Twilight Lounge on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. And
plug.
Yeah, but he likes to come and hang out, and all the comics are always like, you should do stand-up, and he'll just look at them and say, I don't need the validation like you do, which is harsh and hilarious. He's so funny.
And true.
Oh yeah, he is cutting and edgy and very
That's
funny.
great.
I love him very much, but yeah, it's annoying. Yeah, because he's good at everything.
People like that are great to have around.
Yeah.
So what do you do with these chickens? You just feed them and they love you, or
No, they're so ungrateful. They're so disrespectful.
are they giving you eggs, or?
They're going to give us eggs soon, and then I think we'll feel more even in the amount of love and care that we're putting toward them. But yeah, we named them all after female comedians for the most part. We've got our little hen crew out there, except for the ones that Ian insisted on naming. So we have Henrietta, which he would not budge on, and Agatha, which is the runt. And then, we've got Lucille, Betty, who else is out there? Joan and Fran.
Are y'all going to be getting more chickens?
I hope not. I hope we don't have to. I hope that these chickens are just wonderful and good and live forever and give us eggs until the end of time.
How long do you get to keep
Don't
a
know.
chicken?
No idea.
Guess we'll find out.
Yeah. I'll let you know.
Did you pick these up at a store, or were they gifted to you?
I don't know. Ian just said that there were chickens, and then there were chickens at my house. That's what it happened so fast.
So what's the name of Ian's first movie?
What's funny is he wants to make this movie about my dad's passing called, he wants to call it Monday Morning.
Okay.
Like morning. M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G. Yeah. And I was like, I'm so glad my trauma can be a point of inspiration for you. It's a point of inspiration for me, so who am I to say that you can't do it? Yeah.
Well, Austin has like a huge indie film scene, and Fort Worth kind of does too. So being in between those two, who knows?
Who knows? We'll see.
So what's next on your schedule this week?
This week, I think I get to, today's Tuesday. I have to do the STFU open mic tomorrow night, and then I'm going to chill, and then my friend Maggie is coming in to visit, and we're going to talk about a music video that we're shooting for her later this year.
That's sweet.
Or not for her, with her. I get to be a part of it, which is super cool. So I'm really excited about that, and she is also a very funny, talented comedian. She does musical comedy, Maggie Mayfield, and I'm excited to see my friend and do stuff, and then it gets kind of crazy again with the week after, and then I hope I get to chill out. Honestly, if I'm not looking at my calendar, I don't really know exactly where I need to be and what I need to do, but it's a lot of just album promotion stuff and making sure that Unprecedented is good and ready to go. I hope it is. I think it is. Knock on wood.
We'll let you know
think it's ready.
We'll let you know if it wasn't ready.
Yeah. Well,
so your pre-sales are going really well, though, right?
Well, we don't have the pre-save link for the full album yet. We have pre-save for Misdiagnosed, which is the single track coming off of Unprecedented. That's coming out this Friday, 2/18, which is very exciting.
Yes.
It's just a little short 5-minute track off of the album. So we'll see how that goes. I think it's a good bridge between Unstable and Unprecedented, though. I think Misdiagnosed is a good kind of introduction into what's coming.
And how long is the single? How does that work for comedy?
It's about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. We're just putting one thing out. We did a couple different single releases when I did Unstable, and it's just better to put one thing out to tease the full album coming out on April 29th.
That's good timing, right?
I think so.
Is there some science to that?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I think you already sent me the link for it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make sure that's in the show notes and people can click on that and go see Misdiagnosed.
Yes, I am excited. So there will be no visual to it. It's just the audio.
They can listen to Misdiagnosed.
Yes, they can listen to Misdiagnosed. I really tried to make the cover art like a bridge between Unstable and Unprecedented. So it is some of the same font, and it's from the same photo shoot that I had done for Unstable, because I didn't release a physical version of Unstable since I recorded October 2021. no, excuse me. I recorded October 2020, released January 1st, 2021. So there wasn't really anything to do other than just release it to streaming because stuff still really wasn't open and running. Like we weren't doing regular live events yet, really. Yeah. So I just released it directly to streaming and
there you go.
Did it that way. So I had this other photo that I wanted to do something with, but I couldn't because it was originally going to be on like the physical jewel case and that was going to be where the track listings were, but I ended up just repurposing for Misdiagnosed.
That's the cover art that you have for this one is what you're talking about.
Yeah, the cover art for Misdiagnosed for that single is from the same photo shoot as Unstable.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
gotta use that material somewhere.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I did Unprecedented because I had that photo and I was like, oh yeah, I should do something with that. And I started playing around with a cover. And once I made the cover for this new album, I was like, oh, I have to record an album now. Like I just was messing around making a picture and I thought it looked so good that it deserved to have an album behind it. So that was a big decision in me recording Unprecedented.
Kind of
was
life in reverse.
Well, I made the art first and I was like, this deserves to have something. This looks so good. I was really proud of it.
I'm excited for this. So You've got this release coming up. You've got your single. You've got your full release album. Yeah. And then what do you got going on after that? Do you have more goals ahead of that, or are you just going to keep running in the direction you've been going with Claws Out?
Claws Out Media and Entertainment's got a lot of stuff going on. Claws Out Comedy. We're producing a couple different albums for other comedians this year, which is exciting.
Okay.
So I'm the guinea pig for my own production company. So like we're figuring stuff out with Unstable and Unprecedented. And then we've got, I think, 4 comics signed on to do their albums this year, which is exciting. And then I've got some stuff coming up with not tour dates, but I'm trying to do a little bit more travel. I've got some personal stuff going on with a legal situation. So I don't know. I don't know how far out I can actually put my dates, but I might go out to New Mexico. I've got a show in San Antonio. I've got a show out in Athens, which I've never been to. So April.
Athens, Texas.
Yeah. So March and April are pretty busy doing a lot of pop-ups and travel a little bit. So, and then May, I don't know if I said New Mexico already. I might go out to New Mexico in May.
You said New Mexico. Are you going to Colorado Springs, Clovis?
I don't know. I have no idea.
No idea yet.
I don't know.
Actually, Colorado Springs is in Colorado.
Again, if I'm not in front of my laptop with lists and notes and emails, I don't know where I'm supposed to be.
Just as it comes down the pipe, you can either send it to me directly or if you'll tag me in it and it pops up, I'll just share it.
That's awesome.
So, but I owe you an apology too because you taught me something that I immediately forgot and then did again. But I should probably ask before I start stealing people's shit off of their social media accounts and then resharing it.
I don't mind like my social media, but my Facebook I like to pretend doesn't exist. I like to pretend that's just friends. I don't know if we were friends during the time where I was deleting everybody letter by letter.
Yeah.
I went through a Facebook purge where I just said if your name begins with A, you're safe. And I cut my friends list, I think, over half.
Yeah.
And I just deleted people day by day, letter by letter.
That's your prerogative, but
it's really thrilling.
It's kind of
I'm going to have a big album release party for Unprecedented too. That's the main thing. So I think I'm going to do, my phone's over there, either April 29th or April 30th. I'm just waiting to hear back from the venue.
Okay.
I'd like to do like album release party and birthday party.
Where do you think you'll do it at?
Twilight Lounge in Fort Worth. Yeah, where I recorded it. Oh, it's fantastic. We've been there for 3 years, which is the longest I've ever been anywhere, and I love that place more than words can say. Twilight's always been fantastic and phenomenal and just incredibly kind.
It's got an extremely chill vibe. Like it's just a really comfortable venue.
Yeah, so we did some weekend stuff there before when I first started Claws Out, and then we've got the Wednesday it was Tuesday, and then post-pandemic. I keep saying post-pandemic like we're not still in it. We are. But, when things were more reopened and we were doing live events again, we came back on Wednesdays. So what's really cool about Twilight Lounge is we have the STFU open mic every Wednesday, but then the last Wednesday of every month, there's a drag show right after us, which is super amazing. And it's all free. Like Twilight Lounge is the best place in Fort Worth to see free entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went there not too long ago with Lindsay Hightower Band. I don't know if you've ran into them. They play there too.
Not yet.
So it's a lot of fun. There was something that I keep wanting to ask you about. I know producing for other comedians was one of the questions. What goes into that? Are you doing the audio adjustments and?
Oh, we'll find out. I did all the audio stuff for the most part. I did 90% of it for Unprecedented. I think that somebody's going to go in and clean up the stuff that I just did not technically know how to do, but I wanted to learn what goes into creating a piece of content like this. So I did not do the audio stuff for Unstable, but I did a lot of the track. Well, I did all of the track cuts for Unprecedented. I think somebody's just going to go in and clean up the little bits. Like I chopped everything.
Oh, okay.
I chopped everything and
Selected
I leveled
what
everything.
You wanted to use.
Yeah. So we had this huge piece of raw content, and then I went through and tried to learn how to do the editing process because I want to be a valuable person. I know inherently everyone has value, but like I'm really trying to learn as many skills as I can possibly absorb, at least to be competent enough that if I ever hire somebody else to do it, I know that they know what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. If you know more than them, you don't need to hire them.
Right. Exactly. That is exactly my thought process.
So what audio software are you using, or how does that work? Do you just get in there and start trimming stuff with the standard audio program? Or?
I was using DaVinci Resolve to do most of the stuff.
Is that an Adobe program?
No, it's just it's a standalone program. Okay. It's usually paired with like Blackmagic video stuff, but I just downloaded it. I asked my friend who knew a lot about video and audio, and he told me which version to download and gave me like a crash course on it. So I just did as I was told, and then kind of went and messed around with it myself.
Got to start somewhere. I've been into some pretty legit studios where they've got all, like this little silly audio interface I have here, but like an entire room full of these little sliders and buttons all over the place and computer screens and keyboards. And it's like, shit, how would anybody know what to do with this?
I don't know. People do though. I am very base level of doing things.
I don't think you have to do all that with maybe just vocals, like for comedy. I wouldn't think. Yeah,
comedy's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. If people can hear me, then goal reached. Like if I'm not blowing anybody's eardrums out, then we've accomplished everything we needed to.
They need to come up with some way at these venues to like catch the live sets for these comedians playing it like hyenas. I think Improv has some pretty good sound equipment, but if you watch YouTube videos for most of the local comedians, you can hardly hear them.
That's their problem. I don't know about that. I record my own stuff. Smith Music will come out and help me catch stuff sometimes too when it's like a big project. Okay. And Smith Music does distribution and stuff too.
Those are Fort Worth guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Fort Worth. Yeah.
Did y'all do anything fun for Valentine's Day?
Well, I must love him because in the early stages of Valentine's Day, like midnight, 1 a.m., we were recording our first Scary Good Movie podcast episode. And so that's how we began Valentine's Day. And then we ate food and fell asleep at like 8:30 last night, 8:30 p.m. That's what we did on Valentine's Day.
That sounds
we
like
slept for like 12 hours.
We made dinner and that was it. So
yeah, that's really all I got cheesecake and stuff for us too. We passed out. We made some tikka masala and just fell asleep because we're 80 now.
When you're in
we have
love,
chickens, don't you know?
You're right.
We're ancient people.
But when you're in love, every day's Valentine's Day, right?
Sure. Yeah, it's a walk in the park every day.
Well, I'm really glad that we found you. I'm glad that Kate got us connected.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come on and talk.
We'd love to have you back on the show, especially since I'm getting better at this. Next time, it'll be so much cleaner.
I am happy to answer any and every question. Sometimes people ask invasive things, and I'm just like, I don't care. I'll tell you whatever you want.
Well, and then on that too, like I tell people, like if I could get in your shit too much, like if I'm saying or asking personal stuff, like you did earlier, like with, I don't want to tell people where I live. Great, let's not do that. You're right. Yeah. That's a silly thing to do.
Yeah, but, I mean, I had to delete a post on TikTok because people are just trying to find out where you live. It's crazy because I posted a video of like this giant spider and then had to delete it almost immediately because somebody saw the city name on my trash can.
Oh shit.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm sharing less of my life with you guys now. Thanks for saying something early before you just showed up to my house, I guess.
Well, you have like, I think it was either Instagram or TikTok, but you have like over 130,000 followers.
149, but who's counting? Yeah, 149,000 on TikTok.
So you're going to run into just stupid shit all the time, I'm sure, with the comments and the messages. And
yeah,
I was surprised that you got back to me as quick as you did on some of that stuff because I know what it's like just running a small business and having people emailing you about that. That'll fill up your inbox. It'll keep you busy all day.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Now that you've reached that level of superstardom. You're never going to get a break.
I don't know that it's superstardom, but mentally pre-celebrity, right? Like we talked about earlier. I have a morning routine where I very strictly will make the bed, take my vitamins, drink water, and then do any workout that I want to do in the morning, or like whatever I'm doing for self-care that morning. Maybe it's sitting and drinking a cup of coffee and putting on makeup and taking a shower or whatever kind of self-care I want to do in the morning. I do it all before I look at my phone. So my phone is flipped over before I go to bed, and I don't look at it until I'm ready to engage with people.
How long ago did you start doing that?
Well, I changed my routine during the pandemic. That was really my first big thing, because I realized, especially when I did first get on TikTok, that I was constantly looking at my phone for either notifications or like looking at my phone and wondering, why don't I have notifications, which is not a healthy way to live. So I bought an alarm clock. I bought an alarm clock that really started changing my world, when we were at the height of the pandemic in 2020. And so I got this alarm clock, and I started not depending on my phone to be my alarm, because that was where a lot of my issue was coming from, is I would look at my alarm and then immediately I'm seeing everything that's on my front phone screen, where it's those little red bubbles. And I was like, that is a bad thing. That's a bad way to live. Yeah. And so I got an alarm clock to start not being dependent on my phone to wake up. And then, once I felt like I graduated from the alarm clock, I just keep my phone flipped over, because most of the time I wake up without an alarm now. I don't know when I became that person, but I just wake up at like 7 or 8 a.m. and just get my day going, and I don't look at my phone until I'm ready to engage with my phone. Yeah,
that's perfect. So for me, I know that is an extremely powerful like mental health tool for me, because if I am off of a schedule, it is so destructive to everything in my life. Yep. Like today has just been, earlier I wasn't complaining about taking time off of work. I was just, whenever my schedule is screwed up like that, I'm not me. I'm not 100%. I'm not sharp. So, but if I can stick to a routine, if I'm getting up at the same time, following a routine, I know running is extremely important to me, but I have not been doing that lately.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I went so hard in January. I tried to bike 222 miles in honor of Betty White, which I did. I did 222 miles. I read 4 books in January. Yeah, my big thing was for 2022, just what would Betty do? So like I'm trying to do everything that I possibly can to get my grubby little paws in every piece of production and, every little piece of the job that I do. I want to know the back end of it. So yeah, I did a lot of biking and like exercising, and I have to have a list and schedule to function every day, because I've been off meds too for I think almost 3 years now. That was a big part of me releasing Misdiagnosed, is because I was so proud when I put Unstable out, because I talked about borderline personality disorder and bipolar disorder, and one of the big things that happened for me in 2021 was I got a different diagnosis, which is correct for me. So like the irony is not lost on me that I released Unstable and then became more stable than I've ever been. It's not lost on me.
Yeah. So, and that's one of those things that we don't have to get into, but it sounds like you talk about it quite a bit.
I'm very open about mental health. You can ask me anything about mental health.
So with your new diagnosis and following this routine, and I kind of thought there was a crossover there, because it's the same for me. Like I don't feel right if I don't follow a schedule. And with your diagnosis, you following a schedule also helps you just kind of keep everything together in focus.
Well, my new diagnosis is PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which means that I took lithium I didn't need for over a decade. And I felt crazier and crazier every time it wasn't working for me. And every time I would have an episode, I felt nuts. And it's because I didn't have the correct diagnosis. So really, since we started treating PMDD, which really just involved regulating my periods, I've been fine, which is infuriating.
Yeah.
It's absolutely infuriating, because mental health is very important, but mental health is also health. And there's this weird separation, like those are different things. They're not. They are absolutely connected.
Right.
So I just try to focus a lot on everything that I need to do to be okay every single day, which was the same even before I had that diagnosis. Like I started not obsessively, but like consciously focusing on giving my body the correct nutrients and endorphins that I could without medication when I first got off of meds. And then when I got this different diagnosis, more stuff made sense for me, and I don't take daily meds anymore. I just take a benzo as needed whenever I get like hormonal anxiety, which was my primary issue this entire time.
God damn.
Yeah, but it's really difficult, because I carried around these very, very heavy labels for a very long time. So whenever I think about Unstable, I get a little bit angry.
Yeah.
Because I remember I thought I was so brave for talking about these things, but they weren't even the right things for me. And then I talk about it a little bit on Unprecedented, but like having a different label doesn't mean I have different problems. Like it's still all the same issues.
Yeah.
But a combination of therapy and the correct treatment for the thing I actually have has been incredibly helpful.
Yeah, but like lithium, that's not a Z-Pack. It's not a light drug.
No, I took very heavy. Part of the reason that I stopped taking lithium was because it came back on my blood screens that it was like affecting my liver. So that was like a big reason. And it's just that there was nothing else that would be affecting my liver that way. It was a conclusion that was drawn by my doctor, not by me. I feel like I should say that. Because whenever you say something online, somebody's like, it doesn't affect your liver. Okay, well, my doctor thought that it did, so we got off of it, you know? That's something else that I've noticed online, too, that people need to be conscientious of. Like, when you're sharing something with anybody, actually, it's not even that. People are just like very flippant with medical terms now, which I did talk a little bit about on Unstable, but it's so much more now. Like people tell me every day I have ADHD and I'm like, okay, but I don't though.
Yeah.
I simply don't have ADHD.
Not that it's any of their business anyway.
It's not, but it doesn't matter. It's just, it's a weird level of comfort that people have reached on the internet where they're just shouting medical stuff at people. So
yeah.
I think that it's weird that we're constantly viewing each other through these flat devices and we're projecting things on three-dimensional people that we only see in very, very small windows. Because, like, I've just noticed it a lot lately on TikTok in particular. It's like these people talk fast because we have a 15 to 30-second window to tell you all our information. Like, it's not whatever.
Well, and
I could go off about it for a while.
No, and that's fine. I'm totally good with that. The content creators, though, they chop the stuff down to make them sound faster and to deliver the information.
The algorithm likes it when we talk faster.
Really?
Yeah.
You said something today that kind of freaked me out. There was a post you made either today or yesterday, and you were talking about how the algorithm doesn't like a female with your face using curse words.
Oh, my God.
Is that a real thing?
For me, it is. I can't speak to anybody else's.
The algorithm can identify that?
I can't speak to anybody else's experience. I can just tell you there are some creators that they don't mind if they curse and they can get on and they can say whatever the hell they want to say. Right. But for me, and then there was another content creator, she actually got a post ban, like a content violation and a post ban for saying the letter D. Like it just doesn't matter. And some people have complete freedom on this app and other people do not. Like
this is on TikTok?
Yeah, so like if I curse, the algorithm does not like me. Yeah, I don't know why. Something about my face says, "Yeah, I'm Monna, and you're watching the Disney Channel." I think that's what I said.
Yeah. It's
yeah, I don't know why. I got a post. No, I didn't get a post ban. I got a content violation the other day because some guy said I wasn't funny, which obviously wrong. But
correct.
Yeah. So he said that, and then I responded to him, and I just said something to the effect of like, "Okay, bye. I'm on my way to a gig that's going to pay me more than you're going to make in a month. Good luck living in your mom's basement or your car or whatever. Do you have a car?" That's all I said. Yeah. But then I got a content violation for that, for bullying, for harassment and bullying. So what I think is so funny is people want to talk trash online, but then report my videos at the same time, which I think is hilarious.
That's what they want, though.
People want to talk trash, but then also be like, she's harassing me.
That's exactly what they want.
I'm responding to you. And if that's the heat that you can't take, then God, don't go in the kitchen.
Your crowd work is hilarious. So some of your videos doing your crowd work, and to me, and my opinion doesn't matter at all, but one of the most like present demonstrations of a comedian's talent is their crowd work.
I love
because
crowd
it
work.
Is, this is off the cuff, not written down. You're just responding to what's coming at you in real time. And so anyway, that's great.
Thank you so much for saying that, because I really love doing crowd work. I don't seek it out, but when it happens, I enjoy it.
Yeah. But the crowd work side of it on like, just from what I've seen with other creators that are responding to people's comments, it just snowballs. Like it turns into like what you're going through, and before you know it, that's what it's all about. Just so yeah, those people don't deserve your attention. You just need to
yeah, well, I think something that's useful in stand-up, this has always been something that I like to lean on, is when somebody's heckling you, it's more about them than about you. I don't get a lot of hecklers, but whenever somebody's yelling at a comedy show, like, it's not a well-adjusted, happy person.
Right. It's
like,
the
for the
really
most part,
drunk, depressed person.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't deal with a lot of hecklers, but
I told Kate about this, but we were at Hyenas, and I never can remember this guy's name. He was hilarious. He's from Kansas, tall guy, glasses, sells his albums on vinyl. Anyway, he had the room in stitches. Everybody's laughing, having a great time. This is the late show. You know, you got the early one and then the late one.
Yeah.
And it just started to get out of control so fast. Like this very intoxicated lady sitting next to us would just blurt out words.
Yeah.
And he would respond to it. And this turned out to be a horrible mistake. Like, it's not his fault. He's just a funny guy, also great at crowd work. And he's responding to this person. But this person's not really in the room. She was just saying words. Like, she's gone.
Yeah.
She's checked out like 20, 30, maybe an hour ago. And we ended up finding vomit, like, on the way out. Like, it was a rough night for some people in that crowd.
Yeah.
But it got to where he was getting heckled from left stage, right stage, center, up close, in the back. It was coming from every direction. And then he had just had it with the entire room. And he turned to somebody in the back. He's like, "Can I please get the fucking light?" And when he said that, I was like, I hate everybody in this room right now because you just told this guy from Kansas this is what people from Fort Worth are like.
We had this really great moment. And
it's not.
We were doing this show at the Dive in Denton, and one of the best moments that I think that we had last year, it was really cool to watch. It's a free show, so like anybody can come in. For the most part, every event that we do for Claws Out draws a very respectful crowd, but there was a bachelor party in the back.
Oh, no.
And they were really loud and disruptive, and it was to the point where I was like, oh, I need to probably go say something to this table. But before I could, another guy from another table yelled, turned to them, and was like, "Shut up! There's a comedian on stage right now, and you need to be respectful or leave." Like, I like when the audience polices each other, and then everybody was just like, "Yeah, what this guy said, we all agree."
Nice.
But it was nice when the crowd took it into their own hands, because for the most part, when you have a live event, the audience will just police themselves because they didn't go there to hear table to the right talk. They went there to hear the person on stage talk.
100%.
So that was a really cool moment that I got to see, is just a guy having enough, turning around and telling another table to shut up.
That's refreshing too, probably, because for you performing, because you're thinking, do I address this?
Well, I wasn't on the
stage. Or do I
stage.
keep streaming through it?
I wasn't on the stage. If I was on the stage, I would have addressed it. I was not on the stage. I was just helping produce the show.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It was during somebody else's set.
Damn.
She did a great job handling it too, but somebody else stood up and yelled.
It wrecked the whole night, and
That's a shame.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's just because people can't handle their liquor and they don't know how to shut the fuck up. But like you said, they came to see the comedian. They do not want to hear other people. But I also think, and me and Kate talked about this, but there seems to be a kind of a new crowd in the comedy scene, like the people that are going to see comedy, because they spent so much time watching Netflix during COVID in their living room. So like new fans, people that weren't fans before, are showing up to these events. They don't know how to conduct themselves.
That's absolutely true. I have been talking about this a lot lately because I noticed it when we were producing some shows in Fort Worth, like in the Red Room at Hyenas. People would get up and walk out and then come tell me how offended they are. And I was like, if you're at a Claws Out show and you're getting offended, you can't handle anything else, because we are very picky about who we put on stage and like creating a positive positive environment. So like nobody's getting on stage with the intention of hurting your feelings. They're just up there telling jokes. And for you to be offended is not just to be offended, but to come tell me how offended you are is crazy. Like, I have encountered a lot of Karens. I get flustered talking about it because it was so wild to me, the conversations I've had to have with people over the last year. It's like, it's comedy, and if you can't handle comedy, that's fine. Like, that's perfectly okay. You don't have to come to a live show. A live show is not the same as Netflix, and I tell my crowd every Wednesday that comes out to support the STFU open mic, because like Claws Out is very much about providing safe spaces for audience members, but also for performers. Like, part of stand-up is having room to develop and fail and cross the line. Like, part of developing an act that you might one day see on Netflix, you don't just get there. You have to be in small bars and small spaces with crowds you can trust to tell you, that's not cool, we don't like that. Like, the point of comedy, like, it's so weird. Consumers want people that ride the line, but they want us to get to that perfect tightrope immediately, and it's not that. It's a process. Like, part of comedy is making something very hard look very easy. So like a lot of things that you hear off the cuff aren't really off the cuff. Like even crowd work stuff. Like that's stuff that like comedians have been working on for years to just know what to say in the right moment. Like, and I'm a crazy person. Like, I think about conversations so much, like conversations that haven't happened yet. I think what I will say if someone does this. Like, I am constantly thinking about what I'll do if. So like,
is that not normal?
I don't know. It's anxiety that I've utilized for my profession, but it's so weird to see people want this kind of content but not want to be a part of the process or not understand that you don't get to be without A. You know what I mean? So like, I constantly try to inform people, because I know that a lot of people out on a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night, like, they might not have seen live comedy before. So it's like, hey, I always preface the night by saying, this is not a comedy show. This is a comedy open mic. People are up here trying their best, and you need to laugh if it's funny and don't if it's not, because they're going to go repeat it.
Shut the fuck up if you don't like it.
It is the shut the fuck up open mic. Yeah. Yeah, and then I also do something at all of our live events where, like, if you feel a hell yeah in your heart, you can say it out loud. So that's a fun crowd interactive thing that we've worked into all of the events that we do for Claws Out. But yeah, it's weird. People don't know how to act. That's certainly true. So I try to do the best that I can to provide context to whatever we're doing so that people can try to react appropriately and maybe try to be a little bit kinder with their judgment of the artistic process, because it is a process. And like, you don't get to be this edgy, wonderful comedian without working on it.
Yeah. So Monna gives us permission to turn around and yell at that asshole whenever he's heckling our comedian.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I needed that card.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have the strength in you to turn around and tell somebody to shut up and you feel safe doing it, go for it.
Yeah. That, yeah. I hope I never experience it again, but I'm probably going to enough shows. I love going to stand-ups and open mics. Open mics are fun if you can handle the cringe. Because oh man, I've been to some open mics where you'll sit there and you want everybody to do good. You're rooting for this person, and then they get up there and their material is awful, and you just kind of watch them burn up right in front of you, and it's very uncomfortable to watch.
You should
somebody
imagine being a comic.
Like that. Oh, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't. I don't think I could do it. I would just put the mic back and be like, "All right, well, I am not good at this shit," and walk off.
Yeah, it's growth. It's a process.
Yeah, well,
I will say I've never felt like I had a bomb. I feel like a bomb is really heavy. I feel like a bomb is when you drive home and you go, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
Like, I've had nights where I was like, that wasn't my night, but I've never been like, I never want to, like, I want to quit. Like,
That's
I've never had that. I've never had that bomb feeling.
And that's kind of rare, right? I mean, isn't it? Talking to other comedians?
I don't know. I just think everything's a learning experience. I think that the best thing that you can have, I think self-awareness is a superpower. I think if you were the best that night, you should know you were the best that night. If you were the worst that night, you should know you were the worst that night. But you should also be aware that there are other nights where you might not be the best or the worst. Like, I think every stage is an opportunity, and I think that every time that you get in front of a microphone, it's just growth, and there's something to learn there. So, like, as long as I walk away going, well, I won't do that again, or I could have done this a little better. I think it's also important whenever you're in any kind of creative field to have friends that don't lie to you. So, like, one of my favorite moments, we were at an open mic in Denton, and it was like a mic where it was mostly musicians, but they were nice enough to let comics go up and try and do some stuff, which was really nice.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, but like, I got off stage, my friend Jimmy Nelson, who is hilarious, he handed me a doodle he had drawn of me, and it said Monna, and then it had a little ice cream cone that was made of shit, and he just drew a little arrow and said Monna set. And I was like, thank you for keeping me humble. Sometimes people get off stage and no matter what, their friend will be like, good time,
right?
But like, I came up with like DDT and LaRon Wright and Jimmy Nelson, where we would get off stage and go, that was hard, huh? You had a set.
Well, that probably helped you mature your content a lot quicker, or your comedy. But I think I
think we were also competitive too. That like we were following very good people all the time. So like we kept trying to outdo each other and get better at what we were doing. So like we all kind of, I think, made each other better.
So it sounds like you did fail just as much as any other comedian that I've heard talk about this kind of progression. The burning up on stage or bombing or whatever. But I think the difference with you is just your resilience level.
It's a mindset to it.
Yeah. You walk away from it with a different mindset going, there will be others.
I've never been booed. I've never really been heckled. Like, the only times that I've been heckled, it was just like really drunk people being disruptive, and they were doing it to everybody. Like, I've never had somebody be like, you suck. Like, I've never had that kind of an interaction with someone. So, like, I don't know. My feelings are pretty hard to hurt too. Yeah. Because again, I just pity anybody who's mean. I'm just like, oh, you're probably dehydrated. You seem upset. Stuff okay at home?
Didn't sleep well? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm in the audience and somebody's heckling you, I've already got the card. I will turn around.
That's true. That's true. You do have that card. You're free to use it.
Monna, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me on.
Would you consider naming your first Netflix special after me?
Sure. I will consider
I'm looking forward to that. And just please do let me know whenever you've got any kind of content to put out, new releases, your single, your album, whatever. And Fort Worth Roots podcast is happy to blast that out anytime.
Thank you so much.
Love to watch you grow and see where your journey takes you.
Well, we have Misdiagnosed coming out this Friday, 2/18. And then pretty soon, in the next couple days, we should have a full pre-save link for Unprecedented coming out April 29th.
Okay. So for the single, this episode won't air yet, but I will put the stuff out on the podcast page or the Facebook page.
Well, hopefully it'll be a full link then for the actual album.
It'll be out for that.
Yeah.
And I will put links for all the stuff, the single, the episode, and everything. So,
yay, thank you.
Well, thank you. And make sure I get a picture with us, and maybe Morgan she just walked in, so we can all take a picture together.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something I always forget.
I showered and stuff today. I'm ready.
I did too, allegedly.
Look at us crushing it.
Fort Worth Roots, thank y'all for being here, and we'll see you next week. A big thank you to Monna for being a part of Fort Worth Roots. Thank you so much for being on the show. Can't wait to watch you grow as a comedian and as an entrepreneur. Just an incredibly driven person. I love being around people like this because it's kind of like osmosis motivation. It makes you want to get up and go do stuff. Be exciting and productive. Don't forget, Squad STX, Boys Camping. You can find them at squadstx.com. Again, all this stuff is in the show notes. River Oaks, the Springfest Car Show, River Oaks Springfest Car Show, Saturday, April 30th. Please mark it on your calendars. It's going to be fun. It's going to be I think an all-day event. I don't have a time on this card for what time it starts, but it's going to be awesome. And the day before this, I think they're meeting at Grump's. Yeah, Friday night meet and greet with the police escort crews. I'm pretty damn sure they're meeting at Grump's for this. I'll verify that. All that information, facebook.com/River Oaks Springfest to get updates. And, of course, we'll try to keep you posted if anything changes on the Fort Worth Roots Facebook page. What else? Thank you to our Patreon patrons. This is something that we're not going to be highlighting or talking about a whole lot, but whenever we do get a patron, we're going to shout them out. Tell them thank you. Angela Walker, thank you for being a patron and supporting the show. Truly, truly appreciate it. And one day we hope to do big, badass things with Fort Worth Roots, and it's going to be because of people like Angela that we're able to accomplish these goals. So, thank you. What else? Oh, I wanted to tell you guys about some of the cool things that are popping up on the interactive map. Anytime you listen to one of the episodes, you stream it. It shows up on an interactive map that we've got that tracks our analytics. I'm going to try not to butcher this. Dunfermline. It's a town in Scotland, and they're listening to Fort Worth Roots. And then in Budapest, we got people over in Hungary. Is it Hungary or Hungary? Hungary. Budapest. They're listening to the show. We got somebody over in Kuwait City listening to Fort Worth Roots. Thought that was cool. I talked to a buddy of mine. I'm like, was that you? Because he's on that side of the world. And he says he uses a VPN to listen to the show, so he would show up as Dallas. So it wasn't Grant. He listens somewhere else. And then just all over the United States, people tuning in and listening and they keep coming back. So wherever you are on this interactive map, listening to Fort Worth Roots, thank you very much for downloading even one episode of the show. It helps us. So thank you. Social media, you can find us everywhere. Fort Worth Roots. I have an account on all the things. I will tell you that on TikTok, I don't really mess with that too much. I do have a TikTok account, and I don't really keep it up to date. That's the only one I'm not real good at. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, pretty active on those. So, and if you have any questions, comments, you just want to tell me something about the show, do I keep screwing something up, or I say something too repetitively and it's driving you insane? Or maybe you just really like what I'm doing, you're digging it. Hit me up. Email me, media@fortworthroots.com. And I've tried so hard to keep from saying this, but if you will take a MP3 recording of yourself talking about the show or asking a question, or you've got a recommendation, if you'll take that MP3 file, every one of these phones, all the smartphones have a little audio recorder. Record it, save the file. Open up your email. Take the attachment, put the MP3 voicemail style recording into the attachment, and send it to media@fortworthroots.com. And if you don't say anything too inflammatory, I'll put it on the show. It's something we've done a couple times. And I like it. I don't know. I think it's fun. I'd love to hear from you. I'm always wanting feedback. So if you get a chance, since you was, do it. Send me a message. Come on. media@fortworthroots.com. All right, that's it. And I'm babbling. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to Fort Worth Roots. Please put April 30th on your calendar. It's a Saturday. It's going to be great. And I would love to see you there. Come out, see what they got going on with these little pop-up markets. Take a picture with me, and I think Morgan will be there, hopefully. And we'll have the banner out, and we'll take pictures and stuff. It'll be cool. Come on. All right, that's it. Thank y'all for being here. I will see you next week. Peace.